Too many people have opinions on things they know nothing about.
Well, they did it. They actually did the meme. It's truly over. Like, actually over for the franchise. There's nothing else they could possibly do. It's just gonna be complete and utter dog water. It started with Fallout 4. It should have really ended in Fallout 76. But instead, we get a show that just utterly disgraces the games, ruins any sense of world building, any factions that you used to know, completely changed, lost, or just destroyed. It doesn't even matter at this point because people who even watch the show don't even really care about the games. And even if they do, it's usually the people that only played like Fallout 4, 76, and maybe at best Fallout 3, not New Vegas. If they did play New Vegas, well, they're just not even human. In other words, they just lack critical thinking skills and can't comprehend the actual tone of the series itself. Instead, they take it as a joke or some sort of comedy sketch, rather than a society that's trying to rebuild after 200 years. Anyways, this is going to cover episode 1 to 5. The other 3 episodes I'll upload in a later date. But for now, let's see the absolute destruction of one of my favorite video games. Episode 1 starts off with a flashback, and oh my god, I can't stand with all these flashbacks. Sure, it was in season 1, but holy, it just takes away from the pace of the show. And personally, I would rather see something interesting in the post-apocalypse rather than looking back at the pre-war days. Like that even matters 200 years later when everyone's basically dead. Anyways, next it shows a scene full of people beating up a Mr. Handy, and then we get sent to a bar. It shows everyone talking shit to Mr. House and how he's a bad person, with Mr. House sitting in the corner, or whoever that is. That looks a lot like him, although you probably already know who it is. But without spoiling, we'll just play along with it. Mr. House starts bluffing, basically telling them that they voted for this, which enrages him and gets him kicked out of the bar. It's completely intentional, by the way, just so they can offer them $31 million, just so he can test out his new invention, the automated man, or just a mind controller chip. Yeah. Okay, so why is Mr. House so interested in mind control out of nowhere? New Vegas never brings this up whatsoever, and it completely destroys his character. Instead of a calculated billionaire who's trying to predict the future and perhaps save mankind in the future, we instead have a psychopathic Mr. House that's trying to mind control people for basically no reason. Nah, screw the platinum chip. We in here just to enslave everyone, am I right? Anyways, it doesn't go too well. He has his head blown off, and Mr. House has a very happy smirk with his brand new invention, which was never brought up in New Vegas whatsoever. So what a great addition to the show and to the character of Mr. House. Thanks. Anyways, moving on. The next scene we got is from the Mojave Wasteland, and we see Novak, and oh, there's some problems. There's actually a lot of problems with this scene. I'll try not to nitpick too much, but what did they do to the dinosaur? Why is he turned 180 degrees away from the bridge? This just ruins the vantage point of taking down any incoming danger coming from the bridge. Anyways, moving on. We see Cooper Howard, the ghoul, getting hanged while the rest of the Great Khans are just watching and gawking at each other. The Great Khans are treated as like any other Raider faction you see post Fallout 3, where they're just hostile to anyone they see, rather than, you know, a small community full of tribespeople trying to survive the wasteland. But this is Todd's vision, so who really cares at this point? Anyways, moving on. Then we see Lucy sitting up in the Dinky the Dinosaurs spot where Boone was with dog meat, as she watches Cooper Howard being hung and doesn't assist until she gives out the most absolutely disgusting Reddit speech I've ever heard in media ever.
Myself and my traveling companion there. We are hunting down my father, who is not a good guy. And on this journey, we found ourselves in need of food and supplies. Plan A was to leave you alone and avoid this scenario altogether, but we tried that and I just start starving to death. Plan B, his idea, by the way, was for me to turn him over to you so that you would open up your safe and give me the considerable bounty you put out on him.
Fucking shoot!
The idea was I would shoot him down, you take your weapons, and use whatever violence necessary in order for us to escape. Which, in my experience thus far, it's a lot of violence. So, I'm really, really hoping you'll agree to Plan C. And just to ask the question, would it help if I said please?
It's just taken as a big old joke. Nothing really matters, nothing serious, just a big old joke. Anyways, after she's done woman-splaining the entire Great Khan faction, she actually does help out Cooper by shooting the noose. And we see a very... I don't know, this fight scene is okay. I mean, it's nothing that impressive. They do play Big Iron, but why would you play Big Iron when he's not even using a Big Iron himself on his hip? That doesn't make a lot of sense. It's a shame that we see New Vegas for the first time in live action and it's just Novak being destroyed by another faction who's just not themselves anymore.
Whoever kills the girl gets to eat the dog.
Don't know why Lucy is still this all two goody shoes all around in a wasteland while everything is trying to kill her. Clearly, she has not learned anything from the first season. But of course, the main three people of the Fallout show just has crazy plot armor, and so they just get away with it. Next scene shows a flashback, and oh boy, I love flashbacks, and shows a clip from the first season from the Vault-Tec board meeting, basically telling everyone that Vault-Tec is going to nuke the world, which sounds absolutely retarded when you hear it for the gain of profit. And so after that, they do the intro for Fallout 4. Yep, in the show. They even got the Vault-Tec rep too. Yeah, so that's basically the entire scene. The next scene we got is from the vault, and I'm gonna be honest, no one cares about this. Literally, who cares? There's like no memorable characters whatsoever. So instead of wasting time into basically explaining what filler is, we'll just skim past this and pretty much we'll do the rest throughout the entire episodes. So here we go. Water chip broken, and it's been only mentioned once in the first season and is now back again. Man starts a club about inbreeding. I'm not even joking. Girl boss. Man comes in. Girl boss mad. Girl boss tries to make contact with the other vault. Manlet's stuck in vault. Man in the brain reminds him that he sucks and he's gonna die in here. Manlet sees father's pod. In the next scene, we finally get something that matters, which is Lucy and Coop, of course. They stumble upon a little settlement that has the most Fallout 4 aesthetic ever, and then Lucy consumes some fleece. In fleece soup. Amazing. Cool. The lady that gave her fleece soup gave her directions to a nearest drive-in theater that has a hidden vault within it. Then we get another flashback which shows Moldaver, the NCR leader from season 1, and of course, she survived throughout the entire 200 years. I guess everyone nowadays in pre-war days has cryo in every household. She wants Mr. House dead because she thinks that he's the reason the world ended, and is the reason why he's building a missile defense system. All he really needs is cold fusion, because that's totally what he needs right now. Never mentioned in the game, by the way. Literally, this entire scene is just fear-mongering at this point. But of course, he follows through with it. Anyways, the next scene we got is finally something you see from a Fallout game, is exploring an abandoned vault. Trying to figure out what happened and see if they can find a solution or a conclusion. Then it reveals that Cooper actually visited a lot of vaults. Because of course he did, because he does literally everything. The next scene we got is a vault scene, and it's literally just filler. They literally tell you that, oh, they do incest. Because of course they have to, because it's all the same people. Don't know why they have a little club over it, over something so obvious, but whatever. Anyways, moving on. And then we finally get to the midget, or Norm, I guess, does an ingenious idea and just thaws everyone out. Which you should have done a lot earlier instead of wasting rations, but of course nothing really makes sense in this universe. Then we go back to Lucy and Cooper exploring Vault 24. And I mean, like, there's nothing really to complain about. This is pretty well shot. The whole dark and horror atmosphere of an abandoned vault, trying to figure out what happened. Basically turning American citizens into communists, which leads to them using Mr. House's little mind control chip on everyone in the vault. They try to look for data from a terminal, but obviously got stolen by Hank, which he's going to obviously use for his little mind control scheme on everyone else, making the perfect cattle to control everybody, rather than, you know, vaults trying to survive a post-apocalypse and trying to rebuild the world after. But of course, that doesn't really matter anymore after what happened to Shady Sands. A single executive manager just wants to control the entire world, because why not? And of course, it's for Vault-Tec, a dead company at this point. Anyways, they discover a man in the vault who's clearly got tested by Hank, and his head just explodes. How terrifying. The final scene we got is Hank discovering a Vault-Tec HQ bunker in clean, pristine, perfect condition, untouched by any faction after 200 years, not even the Enclave Brotherhood. Nope. They didn't find it. They didn't find this bunker whatsoever. You know, it's kind of surprising for a bunker that survived for over 200 years, and you're telling me no one has discovered it themselves? Yeah, I don't buy it. Then we see Hank trying to contact Mr. House, obviously, because he mentions his old stomping grounds, and then he's trying to finish his work Yes, his work of mind controlling everyone. Yeah, sure, buddy. Like, if he even played the game, you can obviously tell that's not his vision whatsoever. His vision is to literally save mankind. He literally has Hoover Dam and the Vegas with his fingertips, so he has all the power he needs to really conduct a plan to try to go out in the galaxies and try to find planets unpolluted by the wrath and folly of a bygone generation. Literally his words, by the way. Like, he's literally trying to find a way to save mankind and go into the future and try to set humanity back at the right path. But this show wants to go a fog of war approach and try to make every ending like canon. And if you think about it for more than 5 seconds, you know it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But this doesn't matter because we're going with Todd's vision. Todd's vision is to destroy everything and make everything set back to the post-apocalypse. Not the post-apocalypse, no. Just the post-apocalypse, where everything is just nothing but death and destruction and no hope whatsoever for a chance of getting a civilization back in order. Anyways, episode 1 isn't going off to a great start with the Flanderization of Mr. House and all the meaningless flashbacks and vault scenes that doesn't really connect whatsoever to the main story. It's just more side plots that doesn't really need to be added or included whatsoever. It's just there for filler. They're obviously going to try to connect it to the main story, but it's going to obviously be stupid, so I guess we'll see by then. The second episode starts with a flashback before Shady Sands got nuked. Now, as you can clearly tell, this is not in the middle of the desert like in Fallout 1 or Fallout 2. This is in the Boneyard, i.e. Los Angeles. I don't know how they'd mess it up in the first season, but they had to do it again in season 2. They really just had to show those Fallout fans, the OG Fallout fans, that no, it takes place now in the Boneyard, not in the middle of the desert like in the previous games. It shows them having a functional society and everything going well and dandy until a certain somebody that nobody checked whatsoever, and of course, that certain somebody is a person that just has to make a Fallout New Vegas reference. Whoa, that's so cool.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter.
Soon find that, oh no, he's controlled by the chip that controls people. Oh, such a tragedy. Until the bravest black man comes in and saves the day by revealing the bomb that destroyed Shady Sands. No. And you're telling me this bomb blew up the entirety of Shady Sands is this tiny little bomb? The bomb in Megaton that's twice bigger, maybe 10 times bigger, blew up an entire goddamn town. But this? The equivalent of a Fat Man explosion, which it is, because guess what? It's the same model as Liberty Prime's throwing nukes in Fallout 4. And yet this bomb was able to destroy an entire city. It's crazy that everyone else just ran. Not even like kind of some sort of like mechanic, no engineer. No, none of them. They don't exist in this town. Oh, just a black farmer who saves the day, which he doesn't. Oh, and the son, which is Maximus, survives in a fridge. Literally next to his house. They literally made a joke in Fallout New Vegas about this, but it was referencing an Indiana Jones movie. But they did this unironically. And he survives, of course, because he's alive in, you know, season 1, season 2. And he doesn't even turn into a ghoul. No. At least in Fallout 4, the other kid turns into a ghoul, which makes no sense that he survives through all of that. But no, just don't think about it. Don't think about the logic. There's no logic in this show. Anyways, moving on. Next scene, guys, Maximus and a fellow knight shooting down some feral ghouls in some building. I mean, there's nothing to complain about again with the other scene. There's just more action-packed stuff. Anyways, he finds what he's looking for and goes back to the Pridwin. I know it has a different name, but I'm gonna be honest, it's literally just a Pridwin. Same model and everything, so I don't care. The elder, Quintus, talks about rival chapters within the Brotherhood. And I'm gonna be honest, why would there be rivals with the Brotherhood of Steel themselves, really? I mean, there has been a civil war before, but a whole chapter going against another chapter? Yeah, I don't know, it's a bit cartoonish to me, really. Because at the end of the day, they're still trying to preserve and hoard technology. It's their main objective, it always will be their main objective. So the fact that another chapter will just fight with another chapter because they're doing their job, yeah, that doesn't sound about right. After plugging in the intel, it uses it as a key to open Area 51. Whoa, very cool. Next team, guys, Lucy and Cooper traveling through the desert. Lucy ensures Cooper that he'll find his family eventually after 200 years. I mean, at this point, it literally is possible to find anyone, especially in the pre-war. Her being good and kind to others and being so naive to the wasteland and the struggles it brings almost got her killed multiple times, but of course she has plot armor, so it doesn't really matter. They stumble upon an abandoned hospital with someone yelling for help. And of course, learning nothing from the first season, she wants to go in there and help them. Totally not a trap or anything. But of course, in her mind, it's the right thing to do. The cartoonish plot armor she got, and of course, her being a glorified Mary Sue, nothing even cares anymore, bro. She just gets away with it. Constantly challenging Cooper, and she just gets away with it. Anyways, moving on. As they move into the hospital, they eventually find 2 people. And of course, the Cooper, with his great mind, uses that as his perfect time to eat one of them. Not gonna lie, that's kind of a base thing to do. But he spits out because the food he got was tainted. And they used this segment to do like a spooky horror bit, and literally just rat scorpions come out of the vents, and it's just like tiny little rat scorpions, maybe even bark scorpions. And it's supposed to be like a very spooky like scene. I don't know, to me it just looks goofy. Oh, and suddenly a huge rat scorpion bursts through the door, knocking Cooper Howard backwards. It hits a slave girl and Cooper with the stinger after Cooper kills the rat scorpion. And now Lucy has a moral choice to either save the slave girl or Cooper Howard. What could she possibly choose? Yeah, she chooses the slave girl because she thinks the ghoul will survive without the stim pack. Wow, how very nice and noble of her. Lucy and the slave girl literally just leaves the ghoul behind. Wow, what a trusted friend. She says she'll come back for him, but like, how do you know he's gonna survive? Genuinely, how do you know? Oh wait, she doesn't. She just says that because she just can. Because she's so cool and badass. And better than the ghoul. Next scene we got is Norm waking up all the residents of Vault 31, and since this is a pretty short scene, I'll just make it quick. Norm tells them it's been over 200 years since they were frozen, Bud Askins has died, they all start freaking out, and Norm just stares. Anyways, moving on. Then we got Hank McClane goofing around in the Vault-Tec HQ. This is a pretty short scene. All he's really doing of importance is just testing out the chip from the Vault-Tec HQ like testing area, and using that on the mice that was found inside the livestock room. Basically, he's trying to perfect the mind control chip, trying to make sure, you know, it doesn't explode people's heads anymore. But obviously, it doesn't work out here. We go back to the Brotherhood of Steel in Area 51 as they go inside Area 51 hangar and discover a bunch of artifacts and unique antiques. And they even slipped in the Mothership Zeta UFO from Fallout 3, because everyone loved that DLC. And then they found a cryopod or refrigerator that contains a literal alien from Fallout 3. And guess what the Brotherhood does to it?
A real fucking icebox. Huh.
Yep. They treat it as a joke. The West Coast Brotherhood has literally turned into a bunch of kids goofing around and messing around with technology, even destroying technology too. Like, this is literally not the Brotherhood. This is a completely different faction, and yet people will still believe that the show is good. They'll still believe. Literally, this entire scene is just, oh, remember that thing from that game? Well, now it's here in this scene. And oh, look at the Brotherhood. They're just messing around, doing nothing of substance at all. Anyways, Elder Quintus brings up a bunch of elders from the other chapters besides the Commonwealth because, well, why not? And also fuck them, I guess. Anyways, the other Brotherhood chapters are starting to arrive at Area 51 with their Protowins, of course, because there can't be any other model of aircraft in the world. Only the Protowin. Quintus really believes that the Commonwealth Brotherhood would just take the relic and just steal for themselves. Which is very dumb because they're all part of the same faction. They should be working together, not really fighting with each other. Sure, different chapter and all, but like, this literally just serves no point, but just to add drama for no reason. All this feels like filler at this point because there's so much Brotherhood scenes. It's a shame that it doesn't really end well for them at the end. It's not that I even spoiled it. Even the trailer spoiled it too. So it's not even my fault. It's literally just a destruction of all the factions you used to know and love. Completely destroyed. Completely, and nothing left of it. Next scene we got is a very short scene again, and it's just Lucy and the slave girl traveling, and then at the end they just meet the Legion, and you know what happens next. Nothing good. We're back at Vault 31 with all the residents freaking out, and since it's a pretty short scene, I'll just speedrun through this. Norm calms everyone down. Norm tells them they're all very special and they're all very cool super managers or whatever, and he gives all of them a band-aid for being cool. And they all spread out to trying to find a way to escape. Now we're back with Hank McClane back at the Vault-Tec HQ. Now he's really testing with a human. And of course, It doesn't go very well. The next scene is literally just the Legion capturing Lucy, and she makes a quirky response.
I am nice.
That's it. Go next. And then we're back at the vault again. Holy shit, this season has such bad pacing issues. All of them are trying to climb on top to an evacuation ladder. Yes, a vault with an evacuation ladder. Yeah, that defeats the whole purpose of a vault, trying to keep everyone in and contained and safe. When there's literally just a hatch above in the surface that'll just let them in easily inside of the vault. Very smart, Todd and the showrunners. Very smart. They even come out of an air vent that's sticking out like a sore thumb. And you're telling me the Master didn't find their vault earlier on? Oh, wait, I forgot. Fall 1 doesn't even exist. Nor is it really canon at this point. So I guess the Master didn't even care. Or even exist. Who knows at this point. And they can get away by doing this because people didn't even play Fallout 1 or 2. They didn't play any of the OG games, so they wouldn't even know. The fans, or casuals at this point, don't even know it even existed. So it doesn't matter to their eyes. Anyways, moving on. The final scene of episode 2 shows the Brotherhood fighting each other for literally no reason. Like, actually no reason. They just do it because they're bored. While Maximus tries to X out of the situation, a big, buff, white dude comes out of nowhere and starts to challenge him. And from the looks of it, you can clearly tell who wins. But obviously, since it's the Fallout show, and this is Todd's vision, yeah, obviously he wins. And he kills him. He dies. And he gets away with it. And the Elder doesn't care about it. Literally gets away with murder. Not the first time, though. Out of nowhere, a vertebrate arrives, and it's Kumali Najani from the Commonwealth. And that's how the scene ends. It doesn't get any better from here on. The pacing gets worse, the characters get more dumber, and the characters you used to love are just not the same anymore. Anyways, it's time for episode 3. It begins in the Sunset Sarsaparilla building with a bunch of child labor. Oh, and Thaddeus turning into a ghoul or a mutant. But you already know what's going to happen later. So you're telling me a random Brotherhood of Steel former member was able to kidnap and abduct like 30 plus children just to do his little illegal cap manufacturing business. Yeah, that's just so random out of nowhere. And it just feels out of character for him to even do in the first place. Next thing we have is Lucy going to the Legion camp and showing how bad they are. Ooh. I'll give them props. At least the outfits and aesthetic overall in the show, it's pretty faithful to the games. So I'll give him that. Then we see the Legate. Well, clearly not Lanius, because Lanius is hella tall in the game, which means he's probably dead. So yeah, very unfortunate, but it is what it is coming from the Fallout show. The Legate comes in and unmasks themselves, and it's Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. They really want to do this reveal just to show everyone, oh look, it's that guy from Home Alone, and now he's like an evil man doing bad things. Whoa, that's so out of ordinary for him. Again, it's just goofy shit. And then just Lucy stares with utter awe. Then we get another cringy Reddit woman explain moment of her trying to explain that the Legion they're running is wrong and ooh, all of them are bad people. You have to listen for yourself. It's just disgusting, really.
Okay, first of all, shame on you. That is awful. And secondly, prima noctis isn't even a Roman tradition. It's from the Middle Ages. They were just nasty people borrowing a Latin phrase. And as much as I want to respect your traditions, there is a line to all that, which I think we have found. And you should know that I am not even a virgin. And that's not including all of the cousin stuff I did, which is at least a page or two on my resume. So, looks like we're out of options.
She says all of this and doesn't like get killed whatsoever for literally insulting the Legion right in front of their face. But of course, since she has major plot armor, so of course she survives this and gets only hung by a cross, which she does another Reddit speech again.
Excuse me, this isn't Rome, okay? This is America.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. At least according to all the maps.
Maps drawn by the dead. All that remains of America is the overwhelming evidence of its failure. Now, if you excuse me, we have a war to win.
You know, speaking as someone who's seen upwards of 15 different movies, if you think everyone else is the bad guy, chances are you're the bad guy.
Like, why do people like this show? The humor and the dialogue is just beyond horrible. Like, it's just cringe. This is not how people interact with each other. And again, they treat it as a joke yet again. Oh, they also show off Caesar from the game being dead, of course. And the reason why they're having a splinter faction, basically another civil war within the Legion, is they don't know which one is which is going to go become the new Caesar. Well, if you obviously played the game, you obviously know who. But of course, since it's the Fallout show and people don't play the games for some reason, and they don't want them to, they just want to watch this slop and, you know, consume the product. It's more comical, goofy shit because literally the other Splinter faction is on the other side of the goddamn hill. And this is supposed to be like a threatening war between each other. Yeah, no, I don't buy it. They really just want to ruin New Vegas at this point, ruin anything cool coming from it. Because, you know, Todd hates Fallout and specifically New Vegas, but of course people believe in his lies that, oh, he actually doesn't hate New Vegas and or Fallout. He actually loves it. Yeah, coming from a person who lies a lot in any interview or press, but yet people still believe in him. Anyways, moving on. We're going back at Cooper, and this is a very quick scene, and I'll make it quick, but basically he just removes the poison part of his flesh and talks to Dogmeat about things. Cool. Which leads to another flashback of Cooper being in a veteran community and trying to figure out what's up. Only reason he's here is just to gather information, of course, to visit an old friend. But really, he's just here trying to get information on how to kill Mr. House, which is convenient because Mr. House is in the bathroom. But of course, he doesn't know that. And then he just weirdly looks at him in the mirror while telling him how smart he is and whatnot. The fact he's here in this random veteran hall community rather than staying at put in Las Vegas trying to figure out how to save mankind from the upcoming war. Next thing we have is the Brotherhood, and I'm not gonna lie, this is literally just filler. Like, nothing matters in this scene. It literally, all the importance of this scene is to tell you the founding of the Brotherhood, literally. Tells everyone about the feats of Roger Maxson in the Mariposa base back in Fallout 1, which people should know about this if they played the game, but of course they haven't, so they have to have a show to explain them for them. And talking about all this about the Civil War with the Commonwealth, blah, blah, blah. At which Maximus proposes a genius idea of just killing the Commonwealth emissary, which no one agrees, and he just leaves the room. At which he's confronted by Majani and basically telling him how the West Coast Brotherhood sucks and the East Coast is glory and awesome, and basically telling him to abandon his post and go with him, which he does say it's breaking chain of the command, but of course he doesn't care, so he just goes with him. Then we see Cooper Howard is witnessing the Legion and seeing Lucy being hung up, and of course the two Caesars, which doesn't make any sense at all, but whatever. Which he goes to Camp Golf to look for information about Mr. House and the whereabouts of the NCR, and then meet Victor. Oh my god, you remember Victor from Fallout New Vegas? Well, he's here now. And of course he's talking about Cold Fusion, which he's never talked about before, but whatever, that's new for the show. Oh, and of course Camp Golf is abandoned and dead, so yeah. No shock there. Then we have Maximus and Xander traveling on a vertibird. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's nothing else of substance. Moving on. Next thing we have is Cooper and discovering the NCR remnants, which consists of 3 people. And of course, since the Ghoul or Cooper have been through everywhere around the wasteland, of course they know him and they don't kill him on sight because he's a ghoul. We have a man talking to a squirrel. And apparently they say that they're struggling with reinforcements, saying it like radios doesn't exist. They mention about Shade Sands falling, and then the Ghoul makes a remark about it, saying it was over 20 years ago, which is a massive continuity error, and I don't know how they messed this up since the show takes place in 2296. That means it happened around 2276. Of course, there's Cope around how he's just basically rounding up the years, which is pretty stupid to hear, of course, coming from the people on Twitter, which they try to double down upon this as they go to the Fallout website and they try to fix a continuity error. They're trying to retcon the retcon, literally. Again, the way Shade Sands fell is stupid as hell, so it shouldn't even happen to begin with. Next we have is just some more action slop between 2 T-60 power armor and a Securitron in the most horribly choreographed fight scene I've ever seen. Like, bro, I've seen fan animations look better than this. Anyways, moving on. Back at the Legion camp, we see Cooper arriving at the camp, telling them the NCR holdout in exchange for Lucy. After literally being abandoned by her in the hospital, I don't know why she's still going for her. And of course, since this is a Fallout show, everything he does just works, so he eventually gets Lucy out of there. and lights up a bunch of dynamite, which causes them to have a massive explosion, which leads to the Splinter faction attacking each other. Another faction lost their ways and now gonna get destroyed by their own hands. They could have done something cool and unique, but no, they just had to do something extremely boring and predictable. The final scene shows them entering the building, and of course, it's the Sunset Sarsaparilla building. This entire scene is literally just a follow-through morality check of, oh, do you kill the abomination ghouls or not? Which Maximus baby rages about it and kills him. And that's literally how the episode ends. Yeah, another boring episode of more filler and 2 factions that are lost and destroyed. Great. Very awesome. And yet people think that Todd Howard and the showrunners are doing good with this show and are faithful to the source material. The only thing they're faithful of is the art style. Everything else? Oh, hell no. That's its own separate field. Anyways, time for episode 4. It begins with a flashback back at Anchorage, Alaska. Cooper and his soldier buddy at the Veteran Hall appear in T-45D power armor and, yeah, why are they only carrying pistols? They should be carrying assault rifles, but that's just a minor nitpick. Anyways, he examines the fire closer and sees a Deathclaw pre-war. I know Deathclaws are considered pre-war, according to Fallout 2, but still, it's still weird to see a Deathclaw in a snowy environment here. You know, they're just supposed to be made for the desert, right? That's why they're like reptilian creatures. You don't usually see that up north. Anyways, him getting too distracted, he gets ambushed by a bunch of Chinese soldiers, and a Chinese woman comes in and literally talks down upon him. As they're distracted, Death comes behind and just kills all of them. And since the Deathclaw doesn't kill him, obviously it's mind controlled to be where it doesn't kill American soldiers and fights along their side. It also shows how weak power armor is, even though power armor in the games are way more powerful than that. Even the T-45D, which is considered the weakest part of every power armor set in the game. But in this, it gets shot down by a bunch of AKs and gets immobilized. Yeah, for anyone that likes power armor, this show does not do any justice. Then we go back to the Sunset Sarsaparilla place and we see Xander dead. And then Maximus has a genius idea. Just like in the first season, we'll have Thaddeus wear his power armor and cosplay as Xander. What could possibly go wrong?
Ow! What the hell? Oh! What? Okay.
After Lucy and Cooper escaped the Legion camp, and Lucy being fed buff out to keep herself alive, and gave her free guns, while it plays the Fall 4 motif theme. Don't know why the NCR would trust this Vaulty and this ghoul, but it's not going to get explained anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Then we have another vault scene, and it can be summarized as, he starts a club, wasting too much resources, boo-hoo, go next. And now we learn is that Lucy is now addicted to buff out. Very cool. Maximus arrives back at the Prydwen just to tell wherever that thing is, that he killed Xander because it was the right thing to do, and if Quintus is going to get in his way, well, he's going to kill him too. All of that for being praised as a knight and being the golden boy of the Brotherhood of Steel, and now he's just going to turn his back and betray all of them. What great character development. We cut to the Vault Dwellers from Vault 31, and they're all eating food from an abandoned truck. Also, isn't this supposed to be NCR territory? Because it's next to the cathedral and to the boneyard, so where are they? I guess we'll never know, because this show doesn't answer what happened. Oh, they also do a little neat reference to the FEV, a little wordplay. Wow, very cool. And we have another vault scene, which is basically Fat Man discovers 2 people discussing illegal activity. Fat Man is perplexed and shocked, and then leaves. Man, I love filler vault scenes. We cut to Lucy and Cooper going to the strip, and now there's the existence of the south gate that leads to the strip? Now, if you obviously played the game, there's only one way to go to the strip, and that's the free side and to the north gate of the strip. There was a south gate, but it got cut due to time constraints. But why are we using cut content as a way to add in stuff that wasn't there before? People may argue about Vault 24. Barely anyone knew about Vault 24. They only found Vault 24 because there was a jumpsuit in the game files. For this is widely known if you actually played the game that there was supposed to be a south gate to the strip. But again, it's cut content, so we don't consider that canon. And then we see the Kings in the South Gate. They should be in Freeside. Why are they here? And of course, they're all feral ghouls because, you know, kill the Kings, I guess. And people might argue, oh, it's Pacer Gang. Why would Pacer Gang have the King himself? The King and Pacer don't really like each other. But only if you knew this, if you played the games. But again, we're talking about tourists and casuals over here, so they wouldn't know. Anyways, the whole scene plays out as a whole action scene of basically desecrating the entirety of the King's faction. because fuck them. We go back to the Brotherhood of Steel just to witness the biggest humiliation ritual ever, and this is supposed to be funny.
Xander, your name is Xander. Xander.
You got this? All right, buddy, you got it. No big deal. You belong here. You are loved.
Emissary.
Emissary. Yeah, that's me.
Like, he's literally saying his name out loud, and of course no one gives a shit because the show is not serious at all. There's no stakes whatsoever. And then off to the side we see whatever that thing is again, gathering all the kids and putting them in a room. And then Maximus goes into the Elder's room and of course threatens to kill him after he admits they killed Xander. And then afterwards we see Cold Fusion completely unguarded, no guards whatsoever, and it just gets taken like that. And then Thaddeus inside of the power armor starting to have a panic attack. This is just awkward and goofy, man. And then we finally see Maximus admits that the abominations that he killed were ghoul children, and the elder freaks out, brandishes his 10mm pistol, and tries to kill him. And back at the cafeteria, the other elder discovers that the artifact is missing, and then the other guy calls for reinforcements. Then the lady elder stabs him through the face, which is the inciting incident that causes the entire Brotherhood chapter of the West Coast to fall. I'm not even joking, that's literally how it ends. It might be teased in season 3 or whatever in the future, but from the looks of it, the Brotherhood has fallen. Maximus acquires the Cold Fusion and bails out of the base. The next scene, we're back at the vault again. The fat man discusses how you did an illegal activity, while the other guy carrying the baby, he grows suspicious. He starts searching a drawer, finds a wallet, he opens it, and sees a Canadian ID. Oh my god, the overseer's Canadian. Whoa. Lucy and Cooper go to the strip and sees everything dead, filled with Deathclaw eggs and Deathclaws. But also the layout of the strip is just completely wrong. Not really shocked that they did this. People will say they have an artistic vision, but if you're trying to adapt from a video game, why not at least get the sets right? Was it really so hard? I mean, you're being funded by Amazon of all companies. It shouldn't be that hard. Unless you're dealing with people who haven't played the game, which might very well be the case, but I digress for now. The episode ends with the Deathclaw coming out of Gamora and being scary and all, and both of them looking hella terrified. This episode is like the most Brotherhood-filled filler episode ever. There's so much Brotherhood of scenes, but it doesn't even matter at this point because it gets destroyed at the very end. If you remove all the Brotherhood scenes, it'll feel like a 20-minute episode. Now, of course, the desecration of the kings, the goofy shit with Thaddeus, and just gets away with it for the sake of comedy. We have finally arrived at the last episode of the video, episode 5, so let's hope it ends off like somewhat mid, but not amazing or great or a banger as others called it. It starts where it ended, where the Deathclaw comes out of Gamora as they're just staring there cluelessly, and then Cooper brings up a great idea.
I defer to you about what to do in this situation.
Run.
Yeah, you can't outrun a Deathclaw. They do this Jurassic Park bit as Deathclaw looks over them on top of the car, acting like they can't see them or anything. But I guess they got lucky because they encountered a blind Deathclaw. How convenient. They got extremely lucky, and of course, with massive power armor, they just shot a bunch of grenades that distracted Deathclaws and were able to escape into Freeside. The set of Freeside is actually pretty good. I'll give him props to that. It's definitely faithful to the game. Cooper starts talking about how he visited multiple vaults of management in it, one in Oregon, one in California, basically implying that he traveled across the United States just to look for vaults that has, you know, his family in it. I guess is the only one that he hasn't checked, and that's in New Vegas. Afterwards, he gives Lucy the caps she needs for Addictol, the drug to cure all addictions. It would have been cooler if it was Fixer, but that's a temporary addiction fixer, Addictol, which cures it permanently. But again, this is just more Fallout 4 stuff they just want to implement to New Vegas, because they can. Anyways, he goes to a nearby bar to come in and drink some whiskey. The bartender does confirm that the Deathclaws that you see in the strip are from Quarry Junction, so I guess the courier didn't kill the Deathclaws over there. While also confirming that the NCR and Legion have been battling for over 15 plus years, ever since the second Battle of Hoover Dam. They really want to do this again, similar to Fallout 3, where it's just Brotherhood and Enclave, but this time it's NCR and Legion for the West Coast. Like, any decisions you made basically was pointless because it still ends in NCR and Legion still fighting to this day, while making both of them weak and powerless. Then we get another flashback, but it's the only flashback where it's actually important to the story because it reveals more character to Mr. House. But I can assure you, it's nothing good. He gets even more flanderized than before. basically all the major CEOs from Big MT, Robco, Vault-Tec, and West-Tec to discuss the fate of the world at Las Vegas. He meets up with Moldaver, who gives him poison to kill Mr. House, but I guess he has a soft heart because he doesn't feel like killing anymore. So he just leaves the poison behind. He eventually goes into Lucky 38. He stalks Hank for a bit until he stumbles upon Mr. House. Until, ooh, big shocker, it's not actually Mr. House, it's a body double. Wow, what a great addition. That means every Mr. House we saw in a billboard, on the portrait, and any newspaper, it was just this small twink version of him. And of course, he knows his plan about killing him. Then we cut to the Snake's Oilsman from season 1, and I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot this character. The last time I saw him, I thought he looked like TK Mantis for a bit. I mean, hell, they look nearly identical. He travels the waste, and then, oh my god, it's another Fallout New Vegas reference. It's Fisto. The only choice that really mattered in New Vegas that carried through the show was the Curry repairing Fisto. Maybe to the writers and showrunners, maybe they love this. Anyways, Hank comes out of nowhere and just knocks him out and kidnaps him and then applies the chip on him. And he becomes the first test subject to become successful with his little mind control chip. We didn't see the crowd chambers of Barbara and Janie Howard. But in later episodes, we know what happens next. We cut to the vault doors of Vault 31, exploring Vault-Tec HQ. When they go in, it's completely safe from any sort of danger, and they just meet 2 grandmas inside. One of them is a junk merchant from season 1. Basically, she tells Norm that his sister is dead, but of course, he doesn't believe her. Pretty short and boring scene, not gonna lie. We cut to Lucy going to the store to try to steal some Addictol, and steals a power fist along the way, which is unfortunately the disgusting Fallout 4 design. Clearly, the New Vegas and even their own game in Fallout 3 looked better than this. They really want you to hammer down this Fallout 4 art design, even if it's in a location that wasn't present, or they just have shit taste. Either way, it won't make a difference. She also finds a barrel with a person inside, and out of nowhere, this fat man came out of nowhere. And if you use any sense of critical thinking, you can clearly tell what happened here. She tries to act all smart and all by showing off the barrel with the person inside, which aggravates him and tries to shoot her. And then afterwards, she's acting all shocked like this is her first kill of a person. Wouldn't she feel better? Because the person that she killed murdered the store owner. And she starts thinking to herself what kind of person she is. We then cut to a flashback of Cooper meeting up with Mr. House, and this is actually a very important flashback which caused so much drama between the show and the community. It's more so actual fans versus tourists. Mr. House says that their destinies were intertwined. Like a Hollywood actor is so important to Mr. House's future. Oh, we also learned that the body double has been working for this for over 10 years. He also shared that Mr. House was watching him even during Anchorage, Alaska, because he licensed technology that allowed him to surveillance all the T-45Ds that was deployed over there, and he knows about the death claw in Anchorage. Let me remind you that this is the same Mr. House from the first episode that put a chip behind someone's neck and killing them at the process. He opens a door that leads to the Lucky 38 reactor, telling Cooper that he needs cold fusion for his reactor in order for him to stay alive for the upcoming war. Doesn't mention no platinum chip, no. He doesn't even mention this in the game too. This is completely new to the show. Anyways, he also mentions that Vault-Tec and Barbara Howard, the person that says that she's gonna nuke the world basically, he doesn't think that's gonna happen between them. Instead, it's from an unknown source, an unknown player. A bit of a secretive person. And if you can already guess, yeah, it's the Enclave. I would even say it's even better than the proposition they did in the first season where they proposed to nuke the world over profit gain, which makes literally no sense if you think about it for more than 2 seconds. Also, why do we need to know who ended the world? The world is already ended. Who cares who ended it first? All that really matters is to survive and thrive. It's also very strange that in this world, everyone has cryo except for him. All he really has is just a life support system that just keeps him alive, but doesn't actually prevent him from aging. Which is why when you eventually meet him in New Vegas, you'll see him as a decrepit corpse, basically. Anyways, let's get to the part where he absolutely schizo out because of a petty insult caused by a stupid Hollywood actor.
What if I'm not the house? What if someone else is? What if you're just a fucking lunatic? I'm a lunatic?
Yeah.
I would encourage you to gaze inward, Mr. Howard, to your small life, spending your days pretending to be a cowboy, while your wife is making apocalyptic proposals at board meetings, and I'm building a missile system to defend this glorious city from what's coming. But from whom, Mr. Howard? the world? Is it you? What if it is you? I don't think you're a cowboy at all, no. I think you're a killer. I think I know exactly who you are.
Whom he believes has so much importance to his story and to his world, I guess. And people really tried justifying this, saying that this was totally in his character to do this. But when you play New Vegas and get to the part where you refuse to give him the platinum chip, the reaction is completely justified for him to do so.
How shall I put this? Delivery of the platinum chip is non-negotiable. I invite you to think carefully about what you do next, standing alone before me, surrounded by my heavily armed Securitron guards. By the time I was 30 years old, I was a billionaire 30 times over. I founded and ran a vast economic empire. Do you really think I'm going to let an upstart come into my home and ransom my property to me? I spent 2 centuries searching for the platinum chip. It's my invention, my property, mine! Now be a good courier and deliver it! Why, thank you so much. You played that very poorly, you realize? You're fortunate that I have a certain tolerance for greed. I expect my business partners to be self-interested, but smartly so.
But in the show? Absolutely not. And we should cut back to Norm in the Vault-Tec HQ building. He finds a working terminal and searches up the Future Enterprise Ventures, and it pops up with the acronym FEV. And of course, out of curiosity, he clicks on it just to show off the Force Evolutionary Virus. Whoa, it's referring to the super mutants. Anyway, so our guy was listening in, knowing that he was not part of the whole plan, and starts to fight with them. And of course, Norm is weak as shit and loses immediately. We go back to Lucy taking the Addictol and clearing her buffet addiction. She meets up with Cooper in the Wrangler building, and out of nowhere, the snake salesman guy comes out of nowhere in formal wear, giving him a choice of letting Lucy go, but killing Barbara and Janie in the process, or bring her back safely to the vault, where she came from, and ensuring the survival of Cooper's family. And with that revelation, Cooper betrays Lucy. As rightfully so, because who cares about Lucy at this point? She survives impossible situations with insane plot armor while making quirky jokes and talking about weird shit all the time, and having a positive mindset on everything. Yeah, I think it's time to go. But obviously, since there's 3 more episodes after this, it doesn't even matter. Cooper shoots Lucy with the sleep dart, but of course, with the power of girl power, she is able to withstand the sleeping effects and use her power fists and punch Cooper out the window and impaling him on a light post. Which doesn't kill him, by the way, because I guess every ghoul is strong. And after that, she passes out and gets kidnapped by her dad. And that's all 5 episodes covered. The other 3 episodes are going to be covered at a later date, hopefully very soon though, maybe like a day or 2. The next 3 episodes I can tell are very underwhelming, so it's going to be a pretty short video since it's going to only cover 3 episodes instead of 5. But I can definitely tell I'm not going to have a good old time rewatching the same episodes over and over again. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you then.